Hey everybody, it's Steph from Destination Exploration here with another Technology Thursday post for our At Home with DE series. Today we are jumping right back in with our part 2 of our Hangman game that we're coding in Python. So let's get started. So when we're looking at what we coded last time, just a quick refresher to get you back up to speed. We've got importing our random function. We're importing this list of words, so a big old list of words within a new file, and we're importing it into this one. And then we're also importing the string functions so that we can create the alphabet without having to type it all in. The first function that we have up here is our getValidWord function, which is essentially grabbing a random word within that word.py file, and we are seeing if it has a dash or a space within it. If it does, we want to choose a new word, and then once that word meets this condition, we're returning it as an all uppercase word, which is so that we can check it, knowing that Python can distinguish between uppercase and lowercase letters. Then we jump into the meat of the game. This is essentially the main part here, our Hangman function. We have defined the variable as the word, which is the word that we're guessing. We have defined the variable the underscore letters as a set of the word that we've guessed. So a set just means that we're breaking it down so that we can use each individual letter as its own thing rather than just a big string. Then we have the alphabet, of course, is creating an all uppercase string here, and then our use letter is an empty set that we are filling up as the user guesses different letters. Then we jump into this big old while loop. This while loop happens as long as the length of basically the word that we're guessing is greater than 0. So what we've done is we've asked first the user what their guess is. We're checking if that guess is in the alphabet and not in the used letters. So we're basically taking the full alphabet and we're subtracting all of the used letters, so we're taking those out, which means that it is a valid letter. We're adding that guess to the used letter set, and this happens as long as the letter is valid, whether or not it's in the word or not, because it's still a guess. And then we are checking if that guess is in the actual mystery word. If it is, we are removing it from the letters set, which is up here, so it would slowly work its way down to 0, which means you've guessed all the letters, and we are printing in the word. And if it's not in the word, we're printing it's not in the word. Then we have to use our elif statement, and we're checking if the guess is in the used letters, and if it's not, we're going to say that they've already used it. And if it's not in the guess letters or in the alphabet, it's an invalid character. So anything like a space, a comma, a dash, anything like that will be an invalid character. So that's what we have so far. Remember, if you run it, we can open it up here. We're going to type in Hangman, and we're going to guess a letter A or no letter, and I get an invalid. So that works. A, not in the word. E, not in the word. I is in the word. So at this point, you see that it's very not user-friendly. The user would have to go in and basically use a piece of paper on the side to keep track of what they're doing. So today we are going to work, and we're going to add in all of these user inputs and user interface parts that are going to make the game a lot more fun to play. So the first thing that we have to do is we have to essentially tell the user what words and what letters they've used so that they don't have to just keep guessing within looking back at what they've pressed, okay? So the way that we're gonna do that is it still needs to be within this while loop. So we're just gonna go up to the top here, just after this colon. We're gonna jump down to our new piece here. Let's give it a little bit of space. We wanna make sure that we are still indented in there. Then all we're gonna do is use a print statement. So we're gonna go print. You have guessed these letters. Then we're going to put a comma. And so what we're going to do is we're basically going to combine all the letters, the individual letters within the set, and we're going to join them so that they're one string so that it can just easily be printed out here. So we're going to do a comma. So we're going to use a dot join function, and it's basically going to join all the letters within a set that we're going to tell it, and we're going to join it with whatever comes before the dot join. So we want it to be a space, so we're going to do a quotation, space, quotation, dot join, open bracket. So this is just the function that, or the set that we're joining, and we want that to be used letters. Okay, and then close that big print function. So right now it's going to say you have used these letters. And then what we have to do is we have to essentially tell them how long this word that they're guessing is, because that's the main part of Hangman. We all know it starts with putting those dashes on the board or on the piece of paper to tell your other player what they're trying to guess. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to create this, basically this list, and we're going to check whether or not each letter within this set, which is the letters, okay, and we're going to see if it is part of the used letters string, and if not, we're going to replace it with something else. Okay, so basically a blank. So we're going to go like this. We're going to go word list equals, and we're going to do a square bracket, and you're going to go letter if the letter in used letters, else, quotation, dash, space, 4 letters in the word. Now, that looks like a whole bunch of similar words in here, so let's go through it. So essentially what this is doing is it's, because originally our used letters set is empty, which means that there are no letters within the used letters. So that means that for all the letters in the word, we're going to replace it with a dash. And then as new letters appear within our used letters set, we're going to show that letter itself rather than the dash. Okay? It should make a little bit more sense as we play through. Okay, so let's see what we can do here. So let's jump in, we'll run it, we'll save it. Hangman, you have guessed these letters, which means I've guessed nothing. So let's guess a letter. Let's go A. So right now, we've got, you have guessed letter A, E, I, O, U. Okay, so right now it's adding in all of these letters with a space in between them, and you can see that even though I've typed it in lowercase, it is being returned as an uppercase letter. Now, I haven't actually done anything with this word list, it just exists within our program. So let's add in a print statement so that we can see something happening within our play area. So we're gonna go print, guess the word, and then what we're gonna do is we're just going to basically do the same thing we did up here, except instead of using used letter, we're going to do the word list. Okay, so it's just going to be a comma. We're joining them together with a space. We're going to do a dot join, and we're going to do word list. And close that once again. Okay, so let's see what we got over here. You have guessed these letters and guessed the word. So we now can see that our word is actually 5 different letters. So let's go A. So A is in the word. It is the first letter in that word, and we've guessed it. So we've added it to our used letters set, and we have made it appear within our word up here. So let's guess another letter. E, I, O. Nothing. What about a P? S? T? Wow. H? This is a crazy word. B? E? O? R? There we go. We're getting somewhere. D? My word list is getting crazy. I'm gonna use letters. N, O. I swear that every time I do this with the camera on, the words that I get are insane. I had support before, but here we are, making crazy words. And let's just go through the keyboard here. R, D, D, Y. Oh, we got a Y. This is how we cheat. You're probably going, I know what the letter is. Oh, angry? It's angry. So right now you can see that the program is actually stopped because I've gotten basically the start of the shell again. So right now you just saw that I guess probably 30 times, which defeats the purpose of Hangman because Hangman actually gives you a limited number of lives before you can guess the word. Therefore, we've got to go in and actually make this so that the condition doesn't just end when our letters in our guess word become 0. And we also have to tell the player that they've won, because this is a very anticlimactic way of winning this game, even though it took me a really long time to do so. So what we're going to do here is we're going to add something in. We're going to add in lives. Before we do anything with lives, we actually have to create the variable. So remember, we want to put it right up at the top here. So we're going to go lives equals, let's start off with 6. So originally, the lives are always going to be 6. We're going to add a condition to our while loop so that while the length of the letters is greater than 0, we can keep going. And we want our lives to be greater than 0 as well. So that means that this will all happen as long as we have lives left and that our length of our guessed letter is, there's still letters to guess. Okay? So now what we have to do is we have to basically decrease our lives every time we guess it wrong. So when we have it in here, so we don't necessarily need to say not in the word anymore, we can just lose a life. And we can change that as an input or as a kind of print statement up at the top as well. So instead of this, we're going to get rid of this one, and we're actually just going to do unless, we're going to do our lives minus, or lives equals lives minus 1. Okay? So every time that our letter is not in the word, we're going to have our lives starting at 6, subtracting to 1. So then we can keep the rest of this in here. So we still want to make sure that the user knows that they've already guessed it or that they've created an invalid character, but let's tell them how many lives they have. So right up at the top, we're going to just add in a new line as well, just so it's a little bit easier to read. So instead of just like a giant block of blue, we are going to make it a little bit more user-friendly. So in order to grab a new line when we do a print statement, what we're going to do is we're going to add a /n. So that's just going to make a new line, and then we'll go you have, and we're going to add in comma lives, comma so basically what we've done here is we've made a new line. We say you have, say 6 lives and have guessed these letters. So that should all show up here. So let's give it a try and see what it looks like. There we go. So we've made a new line and it says you have 6 lives and have guessed these letters. Guess the word. So we can get rid of this space here just to get rid of this little piece here, and we are good to go. We're also going to add in a break so that there's a break that comes in after the guess the word so that our guess the letter is broken up here. So we're just going to add that right at the bottom here. We're going to do a /n, making sure that it is in quotations, and we're using our commas to add the strings together. Just like this. Okay? So again, let's see what it looks like. You have 6 lives and guess the letters blah, guess the word blah, and guess a letter A, and it's not in the word, but we've lost the lives, so now we have 5 lives. E, I, O, U. Well, you see? Look at that. So the word, look at me how fast I got that. So I have 4 lives left. I've guessed P and it is in the word, which means that my word is suppose. But you can also see that we have this kind of redundant in the word print statement happening. It's obviously in the word if it shows up again. So let's just go in here and we can take this whole thing out right there. So just like that, okay? And now what we still have to deal with is this. Once I get it right, I actually have to tell the user that they got it right. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna use this whole while loop. So while our lives are greater than 0 and our length, there's still letters to guess, all of this while loop happens. So what happens when these conditions are no longer true, which means that we've guessed all the letters in the word, or we run out of lives? We have to jump out here. So right at the bottom, we're gonna press enter. We're gonna press backspace and backspace so that we're in line with this while, so we're out of the while loop. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna do an if lives double equal sign 0. So that means that when the lives equal 0, which means that they have lost the game, make sure that we've got our semicolon here. We're gonna go print, you lose the word was, comma, quotation, comma, and then what we're going to do is the word and else. So we'll jump back out of there and else, which means, so right now we're out of here because our lives are either 0 or our letters, we've guessed all the letters. So this is first checking that if our lives equal 0, then we say that you've lost. Therefore, the only other option would be that we've guessed all the letters. So our else with a colon, making sure that we're gonna go print, just an easy print statement here. You guessed the word. Let's make it interesting here. You guessed the word, quotation, comma, the word, comma, ooh. And then we'll add in a good old exclamation mark, because everything's better with punctuation. So let's give it a try right now. So we're going to see if we can do this. You have 6 lives and guess the letter A, E, I, O, U, Y, S, P, G. I have 1 life left. So now, if I can guess all of the rest of the letters correctly, we win. If not, I should be able to see what this word is. So we all know I'm not going to guess it right. Wow. See? So it says you lose. The word was tasteful. So we can see that we do have this big space here. So what we can actually do is go in here and just kind of edit it out and just do a little bit of tweaking so that we do get it looking seamless for our user. Okay, so essentially that's it there. I won't bore you with me getting the final word, but it should go all as planned, and we'll show you our returned word as you go through there. So the other thing that we can actually add in here is just right back out of everything. If we just type in Hangman with 2 brackets, which is exactly what I was doing to start the program every time I ran it. If I put this right up at the top like this, it means that every time I run this program, the only thing, like these are all defining functions, but this actually is just saving us a step so that you don't have to type it in up here, which means that now I can just press F5, start it, and I go right into my game, which is super handy so that you don't have to worry about misspelling things or anything like that. So you can keep going and play your game. It's a really long word, but that is essentially it. So we've added in loops, while loops, if statement, elif statements. We've got conditions, we've used word lists. We've used so many different things, but we've created a really fun and simple game. Very challenging, as you can see. So I hope that you had fun today creating this wonderful game of Hangman, and hopefully you have not run into any issues. And if you have, you can always send us a message on social media, leave a comment down below, And make sure you check out part 1 if you haven't done so already, or some of our other Python activities. And until next time, we will see you then.